right, 1-2-on-2, man. Welcome back to Gems with Josh. I'm your host, Josh. And man, can you believe it, man? We're already here at week 9 of the NFL season. Fantasy football is going by super quickly. It's been super exciting, super fun. A lot of trades going on. We just got off of buy-mageddon, so many buys last week. But we're right back to it this week, man. I hope you're doing well in whatever league that you're working in. I also hope that you guys are betting well in whatever fantasy apps that you guys are using. But hey, we ain't going to use too much breath today. We're going to go ahead and get straight to it. Week 9 quarterbacks that I like that you can stream this week to maybe help you win this week. First guy I like on that list, Sam Darnold going against the Washington Commanders. Hey, first of all, Sam Darnold has 7 touchdowns and 2 picks in his last 3 games. He's been playing very, very well. Obviously has a clear number 1 receiver with JSN over there, and that offense looks pretty good. I like him this week simply because the Commanders' defense has been very up and down this season. They don't really have a great pass rush, and their secondary is struggling. I think you can start Sam Darnold as a streamer this week and feel very comfortable. If you could pick up Sam Darnold, if you already have him on your team, feel safe streaming him this week. All right? Another guy I like this week. I know it's probably a little bit questionable, but hey, I like Tua going against the Baltimore Ravens this week, all right? I always like Tua at home. Tua plays very well at home. They're on a short week Thursday playing against the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, the Ravens defense has been playing a little bit better lately, but they have still been very up and down. Also, too, on the other side, you got Lamar Jackson coming back with the Ravens. It's going to probably be a decent scoring game. The Dolphins are going to have to score to keep up. I like Tua as a streamer this week if you got some guys on bye going against the Baltimore Ravens, all right? Only 2 QBs this week. We're going to go ahead and move over to the running backs. And yes, sir, that boy, Vidal, Mr. Vidal, running back for the Chargers going against the Tennessee Titans, all right? Kamari Vidal's definitely looked like a RB1, and it's time that he's gotten there for Amari Hampton on injury. I think the Vidal train continues. And simply this week, because of the matchup against the Titans defense has struggled all season long. And just last week, Mr. Vidal had 20 fantasy points, all right? I think he's a safe bet to play this week. Also, if you're in a league and you could trade for this guy, I think he's a valuable guy to maybe go out there and try to go trade for. But yeah, Kamari Vidal going against the Titans this week. Lock him in. All right. Another guy coming up this week, a name we've never used, but we're going to use him this week. We got Bam Knight, running back from the Arizona Cardinals, going against the Dallas Cowboys. Again, my Dallas Cowboys, they struggle on defense, and they really struggle stopping the run at times, all right? Just last week, the Denver Broncos had 40 points combined between the 2 running backs, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. I think Bam Knight has a really good week this week. If you're looking for somebody to stream, or if you've got an RB2 situation that isn't that great, I think Bam Knight is a safe bet this week going against the Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead and lock him in. And last but not least, running backs this week. The Seattle backfield going against the Washington Commanders. Again, Washington Commanders defense has been very up and down. Haven't looked very good this year. I like both Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet this week against the Washington Commanders. I think you see a couple touchdowns from Charbonnet, a lot of yardage from Kenneth Walker. Hopefully one day he gets into the end zone, but knowing them, he probably never will. But hey, I like both of them putting up solid fantasy points this week going against the Commanders. If you have either one of those guys, feel safe locking them into your RB2 or flex position. All right. Let's move over to wide receivers for this week. And a guy who looked awesome last week that I was very surprised with is Travis Hunter from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going against the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Again, last week, Travis Hunter had 24 fantasy points. It was his best performance so far in the NFL. He also had a touchdown. I like him a lot going against the Raiders this week. I think if you got Travis Hunter on your team, you can feel safe putting him at the wide receiver 2 position or flex position. Great matchup. Travis Hunter, look out for him, all right? Also this week, I like wide receiver Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Josh Downs has always been a very, very good wide receiver, stays open, runs very good routes, but at times he's been up and down because of injuries. But in his last 2 games, Josh has had over 13 points in all those games and a touchdown in all of them, all right? Feel safe putting him in this week as a streamer at flex and even at wide receiver 2. Josh Downs, if you don't have him, if he's on your waiver wire or anything in your league, definitely a guy you might want to go and pick up before it's too late. All right, and last this week for receivers, I have the 49ers receiving core going against the New York Giants. And yeah, the Giants have just really struggled holding it down against receivers this season. I like Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall if he is healthy this week, as well as Kendrick Bourne. Depends on who all is going to be healthy. But check the injury report coming up this week. But yeah, any of those wide receivers from the 49ers group, I like them this week going against the Giants. Feel safe putting them into the flex. I know some people are still on buys. You're looking for some guys that you can use to help. Look no further than the 49ers crew. Again, that's Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, or Kendrick Bourne. Some of them still on the waiver wire if you need to pick them up. If you already did pick them up, feel safe putting them into your flex position this week. All right, let's move over to tight end, all right? And a guy who's really, really starting to come on, man. Really, really starting to come on. Kyle Pitts, tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. He is going against the New England Patriots this week. And Kyle Pitts has looked very, very good. Even with Michael Penix out last week, he played very, very well. And it seems that he's really going to be a part of that offense, all right? He's been in double-digit fantasy points the last 2 games. And to be honest with you, man, the New England Patriots gave up a lot to tight ends last week against the Browns. I think this is a really good matchup for Kyle Pitts. You got Kyle Pitts this week, feel safe putting him into your tight end position, and I definitely see him getting double-digit fantasy points. So, yeah, Kyle Pitts, lock him in. All right, last but not least, tight ends this week. You got Colston Loveland, tight end from the Chicago Bears going against the Cincinnati Bengals, right? He's been a little bit up and down. He's a rookie trying to find his way in that offense. But the last 2 games, he's had over 9 targets, and the 2 games combined. I like him a lot. He's a good, fast tight end, and I think going against the Bengals this week, the Bengals linebacker crew struggles going against tight ends at times. I think Loveland is a nice guy that you can stream this week if you got some guys on bye. Also, a guy who, if he's on the waiver wire in your league, a guy you might want to go look at and get who. It's going to get better and better as the season goes on. And, as that offense gets better with Ben Johnson. So, Colston Loveland, tight end from the Bears going against the Bengals this week. Should feel safe putting him in at tight end. Got some guys on bye. Again, another guy that you might want to pick up, have on your bench. Never know what he might do later on in the season, all right? Again, man, loving that where we're at in the football season right now. We're definitely in that trade target season. So, if there's some, some trades out there that you guys think you need to make to strengthen up your roster, now is the time. We're getting closer and closer to playoffs. And unfortunately, for some other things, injuries have happened. Cam Scatterboo got hurt last week. So in your waiver wire, if you can go get Tyrone Tracy, that's a guy that you definitely want to get. If you weren't able to get him, that's a guy you also might want to trade for, right? I know me in my league, my RB2 position has been up and down all season because of Krosky Merritt. I drafted him thinking he'd be a lot better, but with Jaden Daniels out, it's been very, very up and down. So I'm really looking for RB2 this week. Sometimes you might have to take one of your dogs and go trade for something to strengthen out your position and find some other things to fill in at the time. All right. So, start thinking about that. But, this week, Thursday Night Football, we got the Baltimore Ravens going against the Miami Dolphins. Should be a solid game. Again, Lamar Jackson's coming back. He's been out for a few weeks with a hamstring injury. So that'll be exciting to see the former MVP playing. So let's go ahead and get into these picks. Hopefully make a little bit of money with you guys this week, all right? Again, we're constantly betting and doing a lot of our fantasy things on Underdog. Underdog's where we at these days. If you sign up on Underdog, please use our code on there. That's JEMS with Josh, JEMS with Josh. We'll greatly appreciate you guys. You guys will get a promo code and some extra funds to use, free funds actually on there. So again, Gems with Josh, use our code. Underdog is where we're betting. First guy I like on Thursday Night Football this week, Lamar Jackson. Again, he's returning. They have him at 1.5 pass touchdowns. I'm going to go over on that one. I think Lamar Jackson is going to show out. 1.5 pass touchdowns, lock it in. On the other side, running back, Ollie Gordon, right? He's been doing very, very well in that offense for the Dolphins. Really has been their RB2 in that offense. He's getting more and more carries each week. They have him at 18.5 rush yards. I'm going to go up on that one. He's really been looking really good running behind Achane. He's been doing a lot more of the short yardage runs and getting really involved in that offense. I like him to go over 18.5 rush yards this week. All right. This one here is a little risky, but I think with Lamar coming back, it's really, really going to look good. You got Isaiah Likely, tight end from the Baltimore Ravens. I love him, right? He's been injured earlier this season. just got back healthy, but Lamar was out, so we haven't really been seeing him much on the field. But I think when Lamar comes this week, likely is going to sprout up with him, all right? They have him at 21.5 receiving yards this week. Going to go up on that one. I think when Lamar plays, likely plays so much better, and I think he's really going to be a piece of that offense going forward. So Isaiah Likely, tight end, Baltimore Ravens this week, 21.5 receiving yards, up on that one. Back on the Dolphins side, Jalen Waddle, who's been looking amazing lately, really looking like the wide receiver one in that offense. Told y'all before the season that was going to happen. But, yeah, they have him at 0.5 receptions for the first quarter. I definitely like that for Jalen Waddle. Tua and Waddle have been looking very good lately. He had over 20 fantasy points last week, good amount of catches. So I do like him for going over at least one catch in the first quarter tomorrow. So, yeah, definitely lock that one in for Jalen Waddle. All right, another receiver on that other side who's become their wide receiver too since Tyreek Hill got hurt, Malik Washington, all right? They have him at 2.5 receptions this week. Going to go up on that one. He's definitely wide receiver two in that offense. He's been getting a lot of RPO action, getting a lot of drop-offs. I think he'll definitely go over 2.5 receptions tomorrow. So, yeah, Malik Washington, lock that in for the sixth play. And last but not least, on the Ravens side, you got Rashad Bateman. All right, they have him at 24.5 receiving yards. Going to go up on that one. And it's simply, again, because Lamar Jackson is back. When Lamar is back, he scrambles a lot. And when he scrambles for those big plays, a lot of times he looks for Rashad Bateman. Usually has a big play. I think 24.5 receiving yards. We're going to go up on that one with Lamar coming back this week. So, yeah, this sixth play, again, betting on underdog. Lock that in for Thursday Night Football. You got the Dolphins versus the Ravens. Hope it's a good game this week. I'm hoping you guys are doing well in your leagues. Again, we're in that trade season right now. So if you need to go get your quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, et cetera, now's the time to get it. Sometimes you might have to package two guys to go get another guy. All right. And also look for guys' schedules, right? Look at the guys whose schedules are looking good towards the end of the season and guys who are, some of those slow burners who are, treading in the right direction. All right. Because you just never know what might happen. Also, another good thing that you might want to do is head cuffs, all right? We're getting to that part of the season where guys are taking a lot more hits. So you might want to get those backup running backs just in case of the guys that you have in your starting lineup. Now we're gearing up for the playoff season. Hopefully you guys are in a good position. Me, so far, I'm 6-2 in my league. Looking pretty good. Had a rough week last week with so many guys on the bye. But I think we're going to jump back and do our thing. Hey, man, Gems with Josh, another EP. Again, super appreciative of all the support you guys have been showing on TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube. Please make sure you follow us on all those social media platforms at Gems with Josh. We'll be locking in this Sunday, making our picks with J-Mo. We'll be doing some parlays, fantasy advice, as well as locking some picks on Underdog. Hey, man, appreciate you guys. Gym with Josh. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Halloween and all those other good things, man. Peace out. Be safe.